She'll knock this shit out. She'll be sitting down. Yeah. Okay. She's sitting down.
He doesn't ghost people. He explodes. When Quentin Tarantino drops an actor, it doesn't fade out. It blows up.
Question, I'm not your slave and you're not my master. You can't make me dance to your tune. I'm not a monkey.
Tarantino doesn't do subtle. He's the kind of director who will defend a performance until the day he dies, or burn the bridge publicly if you cross him. With Quentin, loyalty is cinematic. So is betrayal. For 3 decades, he's crafted genre-bending masterpieces: Reservoir Dogs, Django Unchained, Inglourious Basterds, each one dripping with style, attitude, and complete control. His sets are sacred. His casting is precise. And when the chemistry's off, he doesn't adjust. He ejects. He's been called obsessive, brilliant, difficult, and revolutionary. But behind that genius is a hard line, and if you're on the wrong side of it, you're not just cut, you're rewritten. Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, The Hateful Eight. Tarantino doesn't just write dialogue, he writes myth. But those myths only work when the actors match his energy. When they don't, the clash is explosive.
And there's been actually almost no competition to show him that there can be anything else.
He's worked with legends like Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Christoph Waltz, and Brad Pitt, but some never returned. Here are 6 actors Quentin Tarantino locked out of his cinematic universe and why he never looked back. By the end of this video, you'll understand why he hated these stars. Number 1. Lawrence Tierney. Lawrence Tierney was supposed to be the veteran muscle in Reservoir Dogs. A stone-faced legend from the noir era, Tierney had the kind of on-screen menace Tarantino loved. Casting him as Joe Cabot seemed perfect, until the cameras rolled and all hell broke loose. Behind the scenes, Tierney was a nightmare, not in a dramatic diva sort of way, but in a volatile, unpredictable one. He'd forget his lines, lash out at crew members, and argue with Tarantino constantly. During one infamous incident, he reportedly got into a screaming match with Quentin over blocking a scene, and when Tierney stormed off set, Tarantino followed him out and fired him on the spot. Later, Tarantino told an interviewer, "It was like dealing with your senile uncle who's off his meds." That wasn't hyperbole. Other cast members confirmed the chaos. Michael Madsen said Tierney's presence changed the entire energy of the set. Every day became a gamble. Could they get through the scene before Tierney exploded? Tarantino, who thrives on precision and energy, couldn't take it. He was 29, directing his first feature, and he didn't hesitate. Firing Tierney wasn't just a production decision, it was personal. He'd written the character for him. But when the vibe turned toxic, he cut him out emotionally, long before the cameras finished rolling. After Reservoir Dogs, Tierney never worked with Tarantino again. No cameos, no calls, just silence. And for someone like Quentin, that's the kill shot. No drama, just distance. The fallout was so final that even when Reservoir Dogs became a cult classic, Tarantino never mentioned Tierney in his reflections. No anecdotes, no tributes, just a missing piece. It's as if Tierney had erased himself from Tarantino's history by crossing a line the director didn't draw in sand, but in concrete. And once you're on the wrong side of that concrete, you stay there. Number 2. Bruce Willis. When Pulp Fiction exploded onto the scene in 1994, it revived careers, redefined cool, and shoved independent cinema into the spotlight. And for Bruce Willis, it was a much-needed resurrection. He'd just come off a string of critical flops: Color of Night, Striking Distance, Hudson Hawk. Tarantino handed him a comeback, but something between them never clicked. Behind the scenes, Willis's trademark sarcasm and Hollywood swagger didn't mesh well with Tarantino's obsessive intensity. Quentin's scripts are sacred, word for word, beat for beat. Willis, used to improvising and dominating sets, didn't always follow the rhythm. He brought star power. Tarantino wanted obedience. According to crew members, the tension was palpable. Tarantino reportedly found Willis unreliable and too self-aware, not the kind of actor who disappeared into roles. While other cast members like Travolta and Jackson became lifelong allies of Tarantino, Willis remained an outlier. No bonding, no repeat calls. Even in interviews years later, Tarantino rarely mentions Willis. He praises the Pulp Fiction ensemble, but always seems to orbit around Bruce's name. It's not open disdain, it's erasure. For a director who reuses his favorite actors like a stock company, the absence speaks volumes. Willis, for his part, has remained diplomatic. He's never badmouthed Tarantino, but he also never acknowledged the film as a pivotal moment in his comeback, something most actors would gush about for decades. In the Tarantino universe, loyalty earns you legacy. Step out of rhythm, and you're gone. Willis lit up one film, stole a few scenes, then vanished from the Tarantino world without a trace. Number 3. George Clooney. On paper, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino should have been creative allies. They worked together on From Dusk Till Dawn, a vampire crime hybrid that gave Clooney his first major post-ER movie role and let Tarantino flex his genre-mashing muscles as screenwriter and co-star. The film became a cult hit, but their partnership didn't evolve, and the reason wasn't buried behind closed doors. It was spoken aloud. Years later, in an interview, Tarantino bluntly said, "George Clooney is not a movie star. No nuance, no sarcasm, just a shot." Tarantino didn't just dismiss Clooney's status, he doubled down, challenging people to name any of Clooney's truly great films post-2000. Clooney didn't let it slide. In his own response, he said he was irritated and defended his body of work, subtly reminding Tarantino that Ocean's 11, Syriana, and Michael Clayton weren't exactly small-time efforts, but the damage was done, the respect was gone. Tarantino's attack wasn't random. He's a purist. He values actors who disappear into roles, not those who carry red carpet charisma into every scene. Clooney, to Tarantino, was Hollywood polished, safe, bankable, slick, not dangerous, not raw, not the kind of actor who fits in a Tarantino world of blood, vengeance, and psychological grime. After From Dusk Till Dawn, Clooney never appeared in another Tarantino project, not a cameo, not a script, not even a whisper of a reunion. And considering how often Tarantino recycles his cast, bringing back the same actors across decades, that's a statement. Clooney moved on. His career soared. He won Oscars, directed films, headlined franchises, but his name vanished from Tarantino's vocabulary. When pressed on it in interviews, Quentin rarely flinches. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't revisit the topic, just silence and the faint taste of disdain. In a business where relationships are currency, Clooney became just another name Tarantino left behind. Not with drama, with dismissal. And for Tarantino, that's worse than a fight. It's being edited out of the final cut. Number 4. Spike Lee. This wasn't just creative tension, this was a public firestorm. Two titans of filmmaking clashing over race, responsibility, and who gets to tell what story. Spike Lee has never been one to hold his tongue, and when Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown hit theaters in 1997, Lee took direct aim at Tarantino's use of the N-word. "I'm not against the word," Lee said, "and I use it, but Quentin is infatuated with the word. What does he want to be? Made an honorary black man." It wasn't a casual critique. It was a shot at Tarantino's entire narrative style. Tarantino fired back, blunt, brutal, and unapologetic. "If Spike Lee can't appreciate Jackie Brown, then I'm sorry for him," he said. "He has no right to tell any other artist what they can or cannot say." The line that grabbed headlines, "Spike needs to shut the F up." From there, the divide became permanent. The real friction came when Django Unchained premiered. Lee condemned the film outright, calling it disrespectful to my ancestors. He refused to watch it. Tarantino, in response, dismissed Lee entirely, saying, "I think his problem is that I'm doing it better than he is. He's just mad because I'm making the black movies he wishes he could make." That wasn't disagreement. That was war. There's been no apology, no reconciliation. And if you scan through Tarantino's entire career, you'll notice he's worked with nearly every kind of actor, but never once reached out to collaborate with Lee or anyone from his cinematic circle. Both men continue to operate at the top of their craft, but their paths never cross. Not in panels, not in interviews, not even in mutual praise. And that one quote from Tarantino, "He's just mad because I'm making the black movies he wishes he could make," cemented the fallout. It wasn't just offensive, it was final. Number 5. Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi helped launch Tarantino's directing career. As Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs, he delivered one of the most iconic rants in indie film history. But behind the dry wit and kinetic tension, something strange unfolded. After that film, Buscemi, despite his talent and early loyalty, was quietly phased out of Tarantino's universe. Theories swirled, the most enduring, a now famous tipping argument. In the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs, Buscemi's character refuses to tip waitresses, claiming, "Society says don't tip these girls, they're doing a job." It was a memorable scene, but some crew members have suggested the line wasn't just a character moment, it was inspired by a real conversation. Buscemi had allegedly voiced similar views off-camera during the shoot, and Tarantino didn't take it lightly. A Reddit thread, recounted by multiple film assistants, recalled Tarantino, years later, joking that if Buscemi wanted back into one of his films, he'd have to play a waiter. He wasn't joking. That role never came. When asked why Buscemi wasn't brought back for roles in Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill, Tarantino brushed it off. "Sometimes people get one shot. That's the story." A cold answer, considering how many other Reservoir Dogs actors, like Michael Madsen and Tim Roth, became regulars. Buscemi never complained publicly. He went on to deliver acclaimed performances in Fargo, Boardwalk Empire, and dozens of other projects. But fans noticed he was never even considered for Tarantino's later films. And for a director known for resurrecting and reusing his favorite talents, that silence meant something. "I haven't heard from Quentin in a long time," Buscemi once said in a brief interview, "but I wish him well." It was polite, but distant. In Tarantino's world, grudges don't always explode. Sometimes they fade, slowly, quietly, until one actor's name vanishes from the casting board and never returns. Number 6. Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty was almost Bill. Not just any Bill, the Bill in Kill Bill. Tarantino wrote the part with him in mind, tailored the character's poetic menace and tragic gravitas around Beatty's legendary cool. It was supposed to be a comeback, but the collaboration died before a single frame was shot. Beatty and Tarantino met, discussed the role, and mapped out the character. But it didn't last. Creative control became the wedge. Beatty, a director himself, wanted input, maybe more than Tarantino could tolerate. He offered suggestions, edits, tonal shifts. Tarantino wasn't having it. He was writing a revenge opera, not a collaboration. According to David Carradine, who eventually replaced Beatty, the tension was quick and absolute. "Warren was trying to direct the director," he said, "and Quentin doesn't play that." Tarantino never publicly slammed Beatty, but his silence said plenty. In interviews after Kill Bill, when asked about the casting change, he offered a vague line. "It wasn't going to work. I needed someone who understood it wasn't their story." That quote revealed everything. For Tarantino, every scene, every word, every cut belongs to him. Beatty's suggestions weren't welcome. They were threats to authorship. And so, the part was ripped from Beatty's grasp and handed to Carradine. No announcements, no press, just a quiet replacement. Carradine would later say that Tarantino was energized after letting Beatty go, like a weight had been lifted. Beatty never spoke out, no statements, no bitterness, just absence. They've never worked together since, never appeared on the same panel, never crossed each other's orbit again. And in an industry that thrives on second chances and redemptive arcs, that kind of clean break is rare. "I needed someone who understood it wasn't their story." That's all Tarantino had to say. And that was the end of Warren Beatty in his world. Conclusion. In Quentin Tarantino's universe, it's not just about talent, it's about trust, loyalty, and total creative submission. Step out of sync, and it doesn't matter how big your name is, you're gone. No rewrites, no reunions, just silence. Like and subscribe if you want more untold stories from behind the camera, and let us know in the comments who do you think deserves to be on this list.